Okay, so I think it's time now. It's already 7 now.
Yeah, perfect.
So yeah. So hi Prathamesh. A very good evening, and I think people are joining now. Yeah, I can see Sanjeev is joined. Bhivan is joined. Okay, so uh, thank you guys joining, and we can also wait for 1-2 minutes more to get to join. More people, and then we will start. And so before I start, I just want to introduce myself. That my name is Mirdul Amin Sarkar. I'm the founder of Market Research Universe, and I'm also author of a book called Entrepreneurship in Independent Market Research and Strategic Digital Marketing. Okay, so yeah, in today's podcast, I'm gonna host this podcast today, and I'm very, honored that my guest Prathamesh joined this, and accepted my invitation for this, podcast, and definitely gonna, cover that, topic, that the future of, PV solar industry, and what are the major players, what gonna happen in this particular solar industry and PV solar industry and all. So yeah, we're gonna cover some more other parts also, like export import, picture, and then what are the drivers, what are the challenges of this industry, and then we'll also come up with some recommendations also for the industrial, who also the business persons who wanted to start their business or wanted to know about or the researchers also who wanted to know more about this solar industry and all. Okay, so yeah, so Prathamesh, very warm welcome in this, podcast. And just, what I know about you, I just give me some time to, introduce you in front of my, audience. So yeah, Prathamesh Dalvi is a corporate strategy and business management professional with more than 6.5 years of experience in solar renewables and power utility. He specializes in, product planning and strategy, process excellence, digital transformation, and operations management. He's an MBA MBA alumni from XLRI Jamshedpur, who is driving transformations and through networking, collaborations, and data-driven decision making. In current role, he networks and collaborates extensively with solar stakeholders, vendors, upstream and downstream players in the solar industry itself, and responsible for, development of product division and also pricing and strategy for solar modules. So, Prathamesh,
Thank you.
welcome to the podcast, and that I know about, that I mentioned about your professional, experiences and all. And I will also request you, if I miss someone, you can, also introduce yourself, starting from your, career, how you started, how your, I want to know, about your XLRI, like, MBA XLRI journey, how you started that, and how the, because what I know now, that you guys having a good strong network there, because XLRI is one of the, top, premier, institution when it comes to management, when it comes to HR analytics also. So yeah, I wanted to understand, and people also who are, eagerly waiting to, listen you here. So yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
So yeah, thank you, Mridul, for introducing me so generously, and thank you for having me here on the podcast. So talking about XLRI, I would
My
say
pleasure.
that you said it right. It's famous for its strong HR alumnus, and we call it the the Excel mafia. So yeah, we are all connected well, and it was a very enjoyable experience going through XLRI. So talking about my career, I started incidentally in the power utilities in the thermal power plant. So there I realized that the coal-fired power plants and the thermal oil plants are in the decline stage. From there, my journey went to the hydroelectric power plant where I worked for 3 or 4 years. So there my renewables energy started. Then I went to XLRI and I got an opportunity to work with Vikram Solar, who was, as you know, the pioneers of solar
Yeah,
in India.
in India. Yeah.
There I got to work with, some of the excellent colleagues, some of the industry veterans from where I learned about the solar technology, about the solar market, the landscape, and I would say I'm truly blessed, to have so many supporting colleagues and seniors who have helped me in this journey overall.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Yeah, you are, uh, my experience is also, I also did my, PGDC actually. After my BTech, I did my BTech in mechanical, and then I was got, still I am interested in power sector itself. Okay.
Right.
And I did 1 year, thermal power plant engineering, which is a 1 year course, more, focused on operation and maintenance and all, thermal power plant. I did it from CBIP, Central Board of Irrigation and Power, in Delhi, New Delhi itself. Okay,
Right.
I learned, and there I learned a lot of thermal power plant things. So core thermal and all these things. At that time, it was okay because after just completing my BTech in mechanical, and that also did my training from NTPC Ramagundam.
Oh,
NTPC Ramagundam, which is in Hyderabad. So I did my BTech from Hyderabad JNTU, and then in last same as you know, we all have to do the project work and all, internship and all. Okay. So I did my training internship there in it's 2 months training there in NTPC Ramagundam. So there I get interested in this thermal and power plant thing and all, and then after completion of BTech, I joined this 1 year CBA course, and then I learned a lot of thermal power things and all these things, and then I also did my in this 1 year program also, they normally send us for the 2 months training or 3 months training to the Adani power plant there. One of the largest, capacity plant,
that's
thermal
Mundra,
power plant.
right?
Yeah, Mundra. Yeah, exactly, Mundra.
So I worked at the Tata power plant, which is in Mundra. Same. That is the UNPP, Ultra Critical Power Plant.
Yeah, exactly.
I was there for a few days. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a nice experience. I learned a lot there. Okay. Yeah. And then after that, I worked for some time in power sector also. And then I thought to, come into the management field. I did MBA from EPS, which is in itself in energy, power and all. So I know I am very, kind of very passionate, you can say, about this in the industry, and morely on consulting. Now I started my market research and consulting in power sector and energy sector and all. Okay, so that's why I found you so relatable. So so who can understand our thought process and all.
Yeah.
Because yeah.
So it was an interesting journey when I started from thermal and then moved into renewables. So you see the complete picture working in those complex thermal power plants, and then you move towards a much more sustainable, greener solution, which is very simplistic, easy to operate power plants. So yeah, that's been an exciting journey, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually written a kind of article also, you can say. So that article published in one of the premier site platform, you can say, indianpowersector.com. So that I've written that. So in that research, when I did my research study, then I found that like by 2030 it's gonna be like 60-40 ratio, like thermal the conventional power system industry, like including that mainly thermal, 70-80% mainly thermal, and then other hydro and all, nuclear and all that. So there's gonna be like 60, and as it's going on, and it's a mainstream power generating, kind of generating, sources. But yeah, over the period, renewables is coming. Renewables is coming, and the industry is booming. And another reason is what I feel like, this global warming and greener revolution of green revolutions and all these things. So that's why renewables is coming, industry is booming definitely over the period. But ratio will be like more or less 60-40%. What do you think on that? Like, how these renewables and what kind of a person is on by 2030, what kind of a ratio you can expect, balance you can expect?
I think the ratio would tilt more towards the renewables, I would say, because there is a lot of force driving the renewables right now. And as you said, you have the climate change, global warming, all those things are changing the perspective. There are, actions taken by the policymakers, the governments. So a lot of things which are, going in favor of the renewables right now. And, with the energy storage coming into the picture, I think there is a good future for the renewables, definitely, in the coming few decades.
Yeah. That is what which I also understand. One of the major challenge for these renewables, like particularly in solar industry, the main reason is the main challenge is the storage system.
Yeah,
storage system, and R&D is going on storage and all. So let's hope on that perspective also. Soon we came up with some kind of battery storage which can fulfill this. Which can store this solar in night time also for a long time and all. In rainy seasons also we can store this
and we are seeing a lot of development in this. In fact, I evaluated a few companies which are getting into energy storage, and not the conventional battery storage, but they are also coming with pressurized storage of air, which would be reconverted to energy. So these all innovative things are coming up. You might have read about Reliance acquiring doing a 100 million acquisition of a European company which is into storage. So these conglomerates are also putting their money in energy storage as well as solar and other renewables.
Great. Okay, so just to inform to the audience who joined, if you having any questions, you can ask just clicking the ASK, and you can type your questions, whatever you have queries. Definitely we'll manage our time and answer your questions. Okay, so yeah, so Prathamesh, so coming to the questions that the topic that we're going to cover in this podcast. So the first question is for you. So what is the potential actually if you are expecting for this PV solar industry gonna be happen over the period? So as you are the expertise in this industry, and all your experiences in solar industry itself, so what do you think about the potential of this industry over the period? As you initially we discussed about solar industries coming and renewables is coming and all these things, but I wanted to understand how this industry gonna have what is the trend actually? What is the potential? What is the trend gonna happen over the period?
Sure. So
if it is coming to technological perspectives also, if it is coming into market size or market perspectives also. Yeah.
So in one word, if I had to answer that question, I would say it is huge. Okay. So I'll just tell you, talking about the markets, I would say in the Asian subcontinent, you have India, China, South Korea, Japan. These are already, growing markets for solar. Then Australia is another growing market for solar. In the American continent, the North America, that is the US, Canada, have already started adopting solar in huge scale. The European market is betting big on solar. And if you consider the Middle East and the African region, that is, I would say, an untapped market as of now. But we see a lot of potential in those markets also, a lot of promise in the near future, in the future, that there'll be a lot of adoption of solar. And talking only about Indian market, I'd like to put in a few numbers. So by 2021, December, the total installed capacity of solar in India is about 46 gigawatt. Okay. And if you consider only the 3% of wasteland in India, if we install all the solar modules, the Indian land has the potential to generate about 748 gigawatt. So out of that, we have only covered about roughly 46 gigawatt. So you see there is a lot of potential still in the market, and people are adopting solar. In fact, the government has set ambitious targets of, by 2030, they want 450 gigawatt of energy from renewable sources. So that's a good number, and we still have a huge potential. And talking about the US market and the European market also, there is a lot of push from their policymakers, from their government, for the adoption and use of solar.
Great. So we can expect, like, by 2030, it will be, a balanced, thermal, conventional and renewables.
Yeah, we can see a balance there in the thermal or the fossil fuel based generation and the renewable generation space.
Great. Okay, so my next question is to, as you are technical expert also, like, you are product management, you are into product management and all. So if I ask you, like, if I actually wanted to understand the PV solar industry's technical perspectives, like, what are the modules that, that available in the market, or what are the types of modules actually? Solar modules.
So to broadly classify that, I would say you have majorly three types. I would broadly put it into. That is, one is your monocrystalline solar module. Second is your polycrystalline solar module, and third, you can say, is the thin film solar module. Okay, this is the broad classification. We'll get into the applications later on. But talking about this, monocrystalline gives you an efficiency of roughly around 20%. By that I means the incident light on the module and how much the module can convert that light into electricity. So that conversion efficiency is around 20% for monocrystalline. And for polycrystalline modules, it is around roughly, you can say, between 15 to 17%. The light it can convert to electricity. And for thin films, it is, around 9 to 10% only it can convert light into electricity. Okay, so obviously the monocrystalline modules are, more mainstream into the market right now. Polycrystalline, you can say, are in a decline phase. So their adoption is slowly decreasing. First, they had an upper advantage because they were cheaper. But now with the technological advancements, you have the monocrystalline modules in par with the polycrystalline modules in terms of pricing. So in terms of technology, they were always one step ahead. Talking about applications of these modules, you have the applications in the ground mount systems. Okay. The modules which you have on the land, those called as the ground mount modules. Both polycrystalline and monocrystalline modules are used there. Along with this, new type of modules which are now very much accepted in the market, those are the bifacial modules. So what is a bifacial module? Let me tell you. Bifacial modules are the modules which can generate from both sides.
Oh, okay,
from
okay.
the light directly falling on them,
Hmm.
as well as the light which is reflected from the ground surface.
Okay, okay.
So that
Interesting.
gives you a little extra generation,
Extra
and that
generation.
reflection from the surface also depends on, on what surface are you installing the modules on.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it depends on the albedo of the surface.
Hmm.
Okay, so naturally, if the surface is a good reflective surface like the snow or a sand, you have more
Okay.
generation from the rear side. Okay,
Oh,
so these modules are also getting popular in places like Leh Ladakh, where you have flat
uh,
surfaces where reflection is more in the
in
desert.
Rajasthan, also
Yeah,
we can use
Rajasthan too. So in future, what I anticipate is that we'll see a lot more adoption of these bifacial modules in the
by
large
face.
scale solar projects that are going on in
Okay.
USA, in European countries where they also have snowfall, and
Mm-hmm.
in the Middle East and in the Rajasthan and the Ladakh area, Leh Ladakh area that we have. So
Yeah.
that's about the bifacial modules. Uh, you also see a lot of modules on the rooftops. So
Mm.
roof of the commercial establishments, roof of your
Mm-hmm.
household rooftops.
Mm-hmm.
Those are few other applications. But what
Yes.
interesting thing which we are seeing coming into the future is the
Mm.
BIPVs. That is the building integrated solar modules.
Okay, nowadays it's quite normal. Like all the apartments, like buildings and all, they're
Yeah,
having
yeah.
that rooftop solar,
Rooftop
and
solar, we are
and
having that.
even and even in the Indian railway platforms, like
Yes, yes.
major, like I'm from West Bengal, so I normally, if I do journey through train and all, so it's from Howrah railway stations.
Right.
So they on this station roof is already all like 60-70% covered through solar rooftops.
Even
So
the major airports now have their roofs covered with solar. Even the
yeah, exactly.
stadiums, for that matter. Other type I was talking about was the glass buildings that you see. So the
Mm.
buildings coming in the future, they'll have an application where the side glass
Oh,
have
that
solar
side glass,
applications.
the
Yeah,
commercial buildings or any
commercial buildings that you
hotels
see.
and all.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are seeing that market also will
Mm.
pick up in the future, where you have those
Okay.
glass buildings,
Then I think
glass.
this is very interesting because we can use that surface also because it's a bigger
Yeah,
surface.
yeah,
If we,
definitely.
yeah,
Then
so we
you
can.
have, yeah. Other
Uh,
interesting part of the application of the thin film modules that I was seeing, those are the flexible modules, where you
okay,
can have your vehicle rooftops covered with those flexible modules, or
okay,
there are foldable modules. Applications range from camping site to
mm,
other you know use and move applications. On the
mm,
caravan, you can have those
mm,
flexible modules. People are
mm.
also going big on the floating solar. So you have a reservoir, you have solar modules on those reservoirs.
Yeah, floating solar. I know about a little bit know about that, but yeah, floating. So those are the solar panels that no, we can see nowadays in Gujarat areas, I think,
Yeah.
uh,
So
and
yeah,
Karnataka.
one
In
interesting
Karnataka
application
also, yeah.
was covering the canal system with
Mm.
solar. Okay, so
Mm.
that the
It is
water
in
doesn't.
Gujarat, I think. Mm.
It is there in Gujarat. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And in Karnataka, what I know, it's they use their ponds, or lakes for these, plotted solar panels and all.
Definitely.
They can
And
use that,
one more
surface
thing
use
that is
surface.
picking up is agrovoltaics. If I don't know if you have heard of this term,
Mm.
agrovoltaics is where you have solar generation modules on the
Mm.
top, and you have
Mm.
the irrigation below the modules.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely, the structure is different. You have a longer structure, modules on the top, and you also have farming activities or cultivation going on below that. So places where land is a scarce resource, this thing is also picking up very fast.
Okay, okay. Great, great. So pretty much, I think it is very interesting that, with a lot of technological, trends coming on, technological, lot of types of modules, solar
Yeah.
modules is coming on and all,
So the
and a lot
industry,
of
I would say,
hybrid solution also is coming on. Yeah.
hybrid solution is coming up, and industry is adapting,
Yeah.
for the applications that we can have. So industry is adapting very fast. Then you have now new projects coming up, wind plus solar or
Yeah, that
solar
is a hybrid. Yes.
storage. So all this interesting mix you can see in the future.
Great, great. So we can expect that this is a huge, industrial booming, trend is coming on for this solar industry. So people, what I understood, people who, for the industrials who wanted to start their, this, solar plants, they can easily start and get a good, business revenue and all. And small scales players also, what you suggest, who just, wanted to start in small scales or, like this kind of a plan and all.
So for rooftop, I would say there are a lot of government incentives which are there for the rooftop solar, and state-wise, if you see each state website, each state also has a different incentive scheme for your rooftops, where you can have a net metering scheme and sell the excess energy to the grid. That is one possibility that we see.
Great, great. Okay, so uh, we are about to finish. Okay, so only I want this podcast, very crisp and all. So yeah, I actually wanted to also understand that import-export picture. Okay,
Right.
import-export picture in the sense, what I feel like in India, no, still domestic, production is still not that developed.
Yeah.
Okay, still we, exporting our, PV solars and all these, equipments from China or any other nations or countries. So what do you think, how much percentage that we are, exporting or sorry, importing, and what is the potential of India in domestic production over the period, and how India can be independent in this, production, domestic production, fulfilling their, requirement, so that they can, India also can export over the period. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. And you said it rightly that India for the past decade has been an importing country in terms of solar. Not only India, but all other countries except China, because China is where the actual production for solar is going on right now. The entire value stream is in China, right from the solar raw materials to the finished product. So China is leading in the solar manufacturing till now, but I would say the picture might change in the coming decade. I have been closely following the import-export scenario for the last 2 years, and I would like to inform you on this note that the government, is coming up with incentives for the domestic manufacturers, and also there are, upcoming trade barriers which would be in place, which would, you know, uh, help, or you would say, give a boost to solar manufacturing in India. So, incentive part, I would like to say is there is a production link incentive scheme which is in ongoing right now, where the government
Yeah.
has pledged about 24,000 crores for this.
Oh.
And
Mm-hmm.
as an effect of that, what we are seeing is that a lot of investment is happening into the solar manufacturing space right now. Big
Okay.
conglomerates like Reliance and others are putting their money into solar. Reliance, L&T, uh, Tata's
Adani,
very
I think.
player. Foreign players are also investing into India, and it's not just the module
Mm,
production, but the
mm,
entire value stream: modules, the cells, the wafers, the ingots, the silicon crystal. So
mm,
entire value chain is coming into India. So that is a very
mm,
promising news, and that I believe also gives a lot of push to domestic industry manufacturers, where they can start with the auxiliary production of the things
mm,
required into production of solar modules: the
mm,
aluminum frame, the glues, the EVAs, the back sheets. I think that that will
mm,
give a lot of push, and I believe that this upcoming decade would be a
mm,
turning point for India, uh, not
mm,
only to satisfy its growing demand for energy and solar,
mm,
but
mm.
also an opportunity to export, become an export market for the world. If you
Yeah.
don't know, I would like to share that US also has a lot of trade barriers on China for that fact.
Mm,
So if
mm,
India can match those price numbers and the supply numbers, I think we can
mm,
compete with China,
mm.
exporting in the US market also. So yeah, that's very promising.
Okay, okay. Okay, we'll come up other questions also, but I'm getting some questions asked by Sanjeev actually.
Yeah.
He's asking who are the biggest producer of solar in India?
So Sanjeev, if it is a solar module producer, I would say you have Vikram Solar, Wari, and Adani Solar are three major solar module manufacturers in India, tried and tested brands.
Mm,
And I think he has asked one more question: can startups add
yeah,
value in the solar, or the big money?
only for
So
big men.
yeah. So I would say startups can, be bolster the solar ecosystem here overall. You have the
Mm,
big money coming up in the entire manufacturing segment. But as I said,
mm,
the auxiliary support system in terms of the installations, in terms of auxiliary materials required for module preparation, the backsheet EVAs,
mm,
the tapes, all those
mm.
can be, supported by the entire startup ecosystem right now. That's my view.
Great. Okay. Great, great. That's the interesting point that I know understood. That India uh, is having a good potential in domestic production. Okay,
Yes.
and lot of FDI. What I think, lot of FDI is coming in India for this domestic production, and government of India also promoting like make in India like uh, scheme and all. So yeah, the India itself having a huge potential in domestic production of solar and all. I think lot of small players also coming to manufacturing these solar PV modules and all.
Yeah, yeah. I always like to give an analogy with the automobile industry. When it
Yeah.
started booming in India, you saw a lot of auxiliary manufacturers, small manufacturers also growing with the
Mm,
industry. Okay, so that is
mm,
there. Along with that,
mm,
you see the module recycling industry will also grow.
mm,
After a few decades, when you will have a lot of
mm,
modules, you will require technology to recycle the solar modules. So that's one
mm,
thing which will come up in a big way.
mm, mm. Okay, so great. Prathamesh, just we're just concluding this session. I think we have pretty much covered, the potential of this industry and how India, what are the types of, solar modules. And very interestingly, you say that, the hybrid solutions also here. And that is actually very interesting. And that, industry is, trends is coming on the technological perspectives and all. Just quickly concluding, so is there any recommendations that you want to give for this for this particularly industry professionals, or or the entrepreneurs or small scales entrepreneurs or large scale entrepreneurs even? What is the recommendations from your side, as you are the industry expert and all, market expert as well?
Quickly sum it up, I'll say there are three main things which are driving the industry right now. One is, as I mentioned, there is a push from the policymakers, the governments, to adopt solar because of the climate change and more awareness about the global warming. Second thing is the prices. The prices of solar, if you have seen the trend, they have dropped in the past decade from 2010 to 2019-20. There has been a gradual drop, which has been the factor why people are adopting more solar. And if you see now that around 2020, the solar, the power produced from solar was cheaper than the power produced from the coal-fired power plants. So solar is getting cheaper. People will adopt solar in a big way in the future. And the third thing is the technology, because there is a lot of push from government and there is a lot of research R&D work going on. So you're seeing a lot of new technologies coming in. And when I talk about technology, the technology in solar modules is the solar cell. Okay. So like you have in an automobile or a car, the engine is the main technological differentiation that you have. Similarly, in solar modules, it is the cell. So the mono PERC cell has a conversion efficiency of about 20 to 23. Now technologies are coming in, the N-type TOPCons and the HJTs, which will have higher conversion efficiencies of around 24-25%. So just keep an, I would say, keep a watch on the technologies, upcoming technologies which are coming in solar. Keep a close eye on the policies, not only the central government policies, but the state government policies, whichever state you are in. So the policies keep on changing. In the past, there have been a flip-flop in the government policies, but government is incentivizing solar. So,
Exactly.
so you can, you can start your own rooftop plant, or you can become a distributor in the markets which are emerging. So currently you have the Western Indian part, which is more sensitized towards solar. The South is picking up. There is a lot of adoption in the North. Central India is picking up. So you can start out as a distributor for solar, tying up with companies. Yeah.
Great. Okay, so Prathamesh, it was really knowledgeable session, and I learned a lot, and I think audience learned a lot. Understand the industrial perspectives, understand the technological perspectives. We pretty much covered that driving and challenges also. Like, what are the challenges? Yeah, we can. I also understand what are the challenge of this industry mainly. We face before we finish this today.
So yeah. I think there are major two challenges which I see. The uncertainty in the policies which are coming up. So if there are more certain policies, more implementation of those policies, I think that would help boost solar in a big way. Second is the financing. Last 2 years, you saw a lot of uncertainty to the small and the big businesses in terms of their cash flows. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you saw a setback in the rooftop and the solar adoption in the rooftop and the commercial segment. Okay, because
Mm-hmm.
obviously the industries and the business did not have extra money to spend on adopting solar, building up their solar power plants on their rooftop. So I think a better financing option
Mm-hmm.
from the industry will help the adoption in the rooftop space also, in the commercial rooftop space
Mm-hmm.
also. Okay, that would
Mm-hmm.
definitely help industry in a big way. And I think we are coming out of
Yeah.
this uncertain period.
Mm-hmm.
Businesses are growing. Uh, People
Mm-hmm.
have, uh, their cash flows are improving. So I think you'll see a good amount of adoption in this rooftop and commercial segment also.
Mm. See, every industry, I know the challenges will be there, but the potential or driving factors
Yeah.
are the factors that we can expect that this industry will
One
be
more
trending
challenge,
more.
Mridul, I saw in the last 1 year, though I would say it is a
Yeah,
temporary blip, but
yeah.
the logistics scenes globally had the prices had increased tremendously, so that had put a lot of
Mm.
pressure on the end product, that are the solar
Okay.
modules. There was uncertainty in China, from where
Mm.
get a lot of raw materials, so their cost
Mm.
had increased. So
Mm.
in the last 1 year, the cost of solar had increased because of again the logistics and the raw material cost. But I think that this
Mm.
is temporary, and going forward, you will see the cost of solar modules declining. By
Mm.
the end of 2022 and going
Mm.
forward, the trend that
Mm.
we had seen for the last one decade had been broken in the last year, and the prices had started increasing. But I would
Mm.
say that that is a temporary blip,
Mm.
and going forward, you will see the
Mm.
prices going down as those for the electronics. So electronics also, you saw the prices going down.
Yeah,
You will
yeah.
see the prices for solar will also go down. But yeah, this period was a temporary
Temporary
problem.
period. And I think another challenge is itself the COVID-19 and pandemic is going on
Yeah.
and all. Yeah.
So I think everyone struggled during that period, and
Yes.
the industry is bouncing back strong
Mm.
in
Mm.
terms of
Because that have to happen because see
yeah,
global warming is happening and green revolution is happening every not in India, the all over globally. That is a pressure, there is a pressure to decarbonizations and all these
yeah,
things. So yeah, so thermal power plants and if I talk about the conventional power plants, if I think about other perspectives like like fuel reservations and all these things is decreasing. Okay, we are not no more it is not a lifetime that going to be happen that we are using like these conventionals or the thermal fossil fuels and crude oils and all these things. So they will come that is going to be have to have it decreased or it's going to be finished. Okay, so of course the only substitute product is solar. Only substituted products is renewables. So of course the balance have to have there, and definitely soon we can gonna be the balanced like 60-40 or even 50-50 like renewables and thermal conventional powers. So that is the thing that I understood. Okay,
rightly, rightly.
so and thank you, Prathamesh, and thank you so much for your valuable time and give us this in-depth knowledge about this renewable industry or solar industry, PV modules. What are the types of PV modules and driving factors, challenges, import export factors, and all. And important thing that you covered, and I make me understand that domestic perspectives or India, like and how India can become like independent in production of these solar modules and all. Yeah, definitely. And thank you once again, Prathamesh.
Thank you so much for
And
having me,
yeah,
and yeah, thank you
yeah,
for all those who participated. It
Yeah.
was lovely chatting with you, Mridul. Had a great
Yeah.
time. Had a great
Thank
evening.
you. Thank you. Thank you, Prathamesh. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.